Welcome into the Gramlich and McLean podcast presented by Ingles, the official supermarket of Gramlich and McLean. Mac, it's been so good to be back this week, of course, but this is my first preview episode back, and we're getting back into the swing of things, you know, how much time we want to spend on some of these games, because we do have quite a few big games this weekend, and I can't wait to get into them. If you missed it, we had an interview with Thomas Castellanos. We had an interview with Carson Beck. I don't know how you could have missed it because those are two of the biggest names in the sport. So make sure you go listen to those and watch those episodes previewing Miami, Florida State. And we do have to give our official picks on that game, Mac. But you're heading to Tallahassee pretty soon.
Come on.
And I know you're gonna end up at an Ingles down there. Like you will.
Of course. I'm going to some say the motherland, some don't. You know that we know that that's Asheville. So I'm super excited. Just to go chop it up. With those guys and see a new place that I've never been before down in Ingles. So thrilled about that. Cannot wait to be in Tallahassee. I'm linking up with our guy, Michael Alford. He's going to show me around the new additions to the stadium, all the renovations. Get to see the new football building, which isn't quite open yet. I think mid-October is what they're aiming for. See the new weight room, which is like pieced together. I think there's some stuff that's still missing from that. So I get all the scoop. Going to go to practice. Can't wait to see that. And then KG, you're going to see the most epic on-site lifting event I've ever done. I can't wait. Coach Storms is going to be there. I'm bringing my guy Ike down. The whole FSU staff, like it's going to be a party. So needless to say, I am a little excited to head down to Tallahassee, but mostly because I get to go to Ingles.
Well, Max, Swattober has begun, right?
You're all the way in. I love that. Yesterday was the first day. Let's go.
But it's funny because I'm not sure there's ever been two podcast hosts that are on such different spectrums right now of working out, because I literally cannot.
Literally can't.
I'm doing nothing. I'm going on a walk, and Mac is doing Squat-tober and having this lifting event of the century. So I think that's pretty funny.
We all run different races, KG,
Yeah.
All right? Just run your race to win. That's all I ask.
Yes, it is a workout when I'm carrying Luke in the baby carrier and Jacob goes up, and I've had to pick him up with one arm. That is my workout. That's my Squat-tober. That's going down right now, Mac.
That's all you need. All I need is to hear a message from Ingles. So
let's do it.
You guys are going to hear it. If you're in town this weekend and you're a Miami fan, if you're a Florida State fan, then maybe somehow you don't know what I'm talking about right now. This is the place to go. Load up. Drinks, meats, everything else. They've got it. Let's get to a message, then let's dive into this weekend.
Did you know that Ingles sells more organics than any other store? Or that they run their own dairy? Or that they only serve USDA choice and prime meat? Did you know that they have more local craft beer than any place else? Or that they have Energy Smart stores? Or that they professionally slice and package imported cheese from Europe? Did you know about their giant international aisle, local farm partnerships, curbside pickup, wine department? Or that they donate 3,956 meals a day to local food banks? Well, now you do. It's all in the bag. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
Okay, Mac, let's start with the game of the weekend. And actually, I want to start with this. Miami, Florida State, obviously, which we've broken down all week. We didn't really get into the fact that, and I know the huddle's going to be in Tallahassee and that's what matters, but game day going to Bama Vandy, I feel like the disrespect for this game. Like, I saw someone put this out there that we, as a college football universe, and of course as the ACC, have been collectively waiting for both these programs to be good at the same time for 20 years. And then it finally happens, and it's like it's not being treated that way. It's frustrating.
Yeah. It is, it's pretty typical, pretty standard practice.
Is it now?
Bizarre. I mean, I don't understand it at all, but hey, more room for us,
Good.
more fans for us. And let me tell you something, Knowles, show up. Show out and let's prove to them why they should have been here. That's what I hope to see. And Florida State, I've got to give them love from an administrative standpoint. They're pushing it like crazy. So I very much appreciate that. And Knowles, if you're listening, get your butt to where you need to be. Go on Twitter, go on TikTok, go on Instagram. It's all there. We'll tell you where to be. And we're going to have a good time. We'll maybe get you on TV too. So we need you there. But I just kind of sat back and laughed and said, of course, that's where they go.
Rolled my eye.
Where would you go here? So anyway, I hope it's like just an onslaught and it's just a waste of time. But Herbie's calling the game. He's flying back to call the game anyway. So I don't know. It's weird.
That's crazy. There's
seems to be a waste of resources, emissions and all that. Don't we care about that?
Yeah, there's nothing about Vandy Bama that gets me more excited than Miami, Florida State. All right, let's make our picks on this game, Mac, and we can kind of give some final thoughts. We talked about it all week, and go check out those episodes. My keys in this one, I think for Miami, and we actually saw a lot of Miami fans talking about it in our Carson Beck episode, when Tommy Castellano said, I'm not worried about my O-line against that D-line. Is that true, right? Does that come to fruition? That's my big question. Is this D-line really the best in the country? Is Ruben Bain the best player in the country? Like, can they wreak that much havoc? And we are coming off a game where Tommy had some bad turnovers. Like, can they do that, speed him up? That can be a big issue for Miami. And then on the flip side for Florida State, that red zone defense, I think that's just huge. The red zone in general, because Florida State's been very good offensively in the red zone. Defensively, not as good. Those are, if I had to pick a couple keys, those are really important, I think, in this game.
Yeah, no, I don't think there's any doubt about that. And, I think when you look matchup wise, okay, what's something to pay attention to? Clearly, the Florida State defensive line versus this Miami offensive line is a huge deal. Like if I'm Mario Cristobal, if I'm Alex Mirabal, offensive line coach, if I am Francis Maui-Noah and the boys up front, these running backs, Carson, I'm watching that Virginia tape and I am like salivating, saying, do you know what we're about to do to these cats? Like we are going to hammer them up front if that's what we see out there, which again, maybe it was FSU disrespecting Virginia. Maybe it was them looking ahead to Miami, all these different things. Whatever it is, it's here now. All the excuses you want to say of whatever, it's here. And I look at those safeties, the way that they didn't tackle, didn't wrap up, and extra yardage was to be had. I think they're excited about and what they're going to be able to do. And, can they, in turn with that, manage the game, make the game shorter, run the ball at will, 3 yards here, 4 yards here, long, nasty drives, like Virginia did. Virginia had multiple 7-8 minute drives that resulted in touchdowns. And that's tough. That's kind of frustrating for an offense that wants to go fast and wants to be out there in Florida State. So that I think is a really good defensive tactic, is just dragging out, these drives and shortening the game and shortening the amount of possessions for Florida State. The other matchup on the other side, when you look at Tommy's boys up front and how are they going to be ready for the best defensive line that they've gone against. Now, I think they're certainly skilled enough, but, when you see Ruben Bain, who I believe is the best player in college football, who is very versatile, that can line up as a 3 technique, which is over a guard, can line up wide as a 9 technique or a 7 technique, which is outside, of the offensive tackle there. Those kind of things that's tough, to see that. Then on the other side, you got, Blay and Keem Mesidor and others that just kind of rotate in, Scott into that 4th spot there. So this defensive line is loaded and they're very, very good. So seeing both sides of the line of scrimmage to me is going to be fascinating. Then you look at the quarterbacks and you look at, okay, do they want to go shot for shot against each other? Do they want to not be outperformed, by the other? And Tommy has obviously been a little bit more explosive, especially with the things that he can do on the ground. And so, if Ruben gets a little excited, if Keem gets a little excited and over pursues, see ya. This guy's, out the gate, and you just have to be really careful to that. So I feel like I'm like going all over the board. So
no, but you're right though about the mobility. That's an interesting piece.
It will be. So in turn, is that making, Ruben Bain not the same guy that he knows I have to just get to this spot and wait? It's going to be a fascinating chess match, just from those lines of scrimmage and to see what these quarterbacks do. And then you heard Tommy saying, I think it's even. It's going to be the perimeter. Who can win on the perimeter? And that goes for both sides. I think the guys that Florida State, or excuse me, Miami brought in to go along with OJ Frederick have been fantastic. Does OJ follow Deuce around all day? Like, is that his matchup? That would be kind of fun to watch, to be honest. And then on the other side, Earl Little, how much is he paying attention to Malachi Toney if he's in the slot and moving around for the Miami offensive side? So there are a ton, and that's why this game is so impactful. That's why this game is so big. Literally point anywhere you want to go. There are massive, massive things that you have to pay attention to. All the while, Florida State maybe has their best running back, though we haven't seen all year, except for maybe a couple of plays against Alabama. So, it is going to be really interesting. And if you can't tell, I am thrilled to be at this game.
I want to ask it from this perspective, Mac, from an ACC perspective. Okay, big picture. What's better for the league? Because I think it's better if Florida State wins the game, because a 2-loss team coming from the ACC. I mean, we'll see what else happens outside of the league, but it almost feels like, okay, if each of these teams has 1 loss, then if they play again in the ACC title, then that's your second loss. Perhaps you can get in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is
If we're looking
interesting.
ahead.
You look at the rest of the way. For Florida State, they still play a decent Pitt team. They play Clemson, which still a logo, still a brand. We'll see if that means anything later from a record standpoint. They play Virginia Tech, who is undefeated in conference play right now, and
That's
then they're at Florida
yep.
at the end of the season there. Miami, when you look at who they play the rest of the way, has Louisville, I believe, on a Friday night. They
Yep.
have
That's big.
SMU, and they have at Virginia Tech and at Pittsburgh as well. So there's no like massive marquee game for either of them, which is crazy with Clemson still on the schedule for Florida State in regards to a team that's ranked, in regards to a game that is going to give you a ton of juice and be the talk of the nation. In regards to that, like this is that moment. You have to wait probably for the ACC championship to have another one of those for either team. So I go back and forth from like a business sense. You probably do want Florida State to win because that positions you the best to have multiple bids at the end of the year. Probably whoever wins this game, loser's not going to be in the ACC championship. So if that team can just run the table the rest of the way, they're just sitting there
That's a
pretty.
good point too.
Like we've seen multiple SEC teams and Big Ten teams kind of have that favor. But you also wouldn't be mad about having the number 1 team in the country from poll to poll. That comes out, and is that the Miami Hurricanes, and just having one super elite bad team that's just going to run through everybody. So I go back and forth from a business perspective. It probably would be nice for Florida State to win.
Yeah. Both are good though, because here's the thing. I mean, both outcomes are okay because we talk about this ad nauseum every August, Mac, and it actually came true this year that Florida State and Miami handled their business in the non-conference, so they have some leeway. If Notre Dame continues to look like they do and wins out, if Bama wins out, that really helps.
Well, actually,
both of these.
KG, Paul Feinbaum told me that win doesn't matter anymore. I don't know
Sure,
if you saw
sure.
that.
Well,
Paul, why
thankfully
don't
he's
you
not on
go
the
get
committee.
in politics and get out of the sport, buddy? We'll be cool.
All right, let's make our picks because we got to talk for some reason about Clemson, North Carolina, and some of
Come
the other games.
on. You see this
So
tiger behind me?
I'm so out. I'm so out, Mac. I'm so just like, oh, okay.
You haven't even been in yet. You got to suffer with me a little bit here.
It's true. It's true. I haven't even really been here, and I'm still out on this team. Mac, when I look at this game, I really think that the lines of scrimmage aren't as even as people are saying. And that's why I give Miami the advantage on both
Okay.
lines of scrimmage. So even though this game's at Florida State, 7:30 ABC, I think we saw some serious weaknesses for FSU against Virginia. Give me the Canes and give me Miami to cover the 4.5.
Wow.
Miami
See,
fans
this is
love me now.
I love that you're diving into the trenches here. This is big time.
Got to.
And you might be right. I think Miami has the best, lines of scrimmage, offense and defense in the country. But there is something about the proof in the pudding. Like Florida State's running on anybody and everybody. Even last week, the offense still looked fine. Like outside of turnovers, the offense was still really good and able to run the football. Now, again, I do think this is the best line that they will have gone against to point, and they've played Bama, right? Like that's a big deal. When you see the activity in Ruben Bain and the things that he's able to do. But with that said, do I trust a mobile quarterback? Do I trust a guy that can move around, who's confident, talking his talk, walking his walk? Like he just gets superpowers. He starts going, this guy plays at a different level. Maybe we should have done that for Virginia. We should have talked a little more
Exactly.
cash and got locked in there. I don't know. But then you see like the very business-like pro model that is Miami. And I mean, these guys are operating like an NFL team, and they're playing and handling their business of, we're going to go out there, we're going to walk down the field, we're going to score, we're going to play good defense, and we're going to get out of here, and we're going to go home with a win. So it is a fascinating thing to see. The other part that is a super X factor, and I think you and I touched on this yesterday a lot, or a couple days ago, it's Miami's first road game.
Yeah.
It is a crazy environment. It is going to be loud. It's going to be obnoxious. And I know that Carson Beck has played in any other stadium, and maybe some that are significantly louder and bigger, but everybody else hasn't. Malachi Toney hasn't. These other linemen haven't. And you still have to communicate and talk and get out what you need to get out. And I might go Canes money line Florida State money line. I just
Really?
the point of that. I think I might go Florida State. I think that there's a lot of juice.
Okay.
I think they were looking forward to this game. And I think there's something to the challenge that they have felt. They lost a game. They've been in that situation that Miami really hasn't yet. With that said, I wouldn't be shocked if Miami wins by 15, something of that nature.
Who
But
are you
give me the
picking,
Knowles.
McLean?
Give me the Knowles money line.
I
I
love
don't
that.
need points. I'm taking the dub.
You don't even need points, huh? Okay.
Let's
I
go.
love that we're divided here. This game is just
Terrifying. Don't look at my record. Miami fans, you should feel pretty good.
All right, let's move on here to some other games that we're going to dive into. Let's spend some time here with Clemson, North Carolina, and then, of course, Virginia, Louisville. Massive game. Clemson going to Chapel Hill, noon on ESPN, a game that we all thought would be so exciting.
Game day. It'd be game day, right?
For whatever reason, and it's really not. But Clemson is still a 13.5-point favorite, which surprised me a little bit. And believe it or not, Mac, we know Dabo, especially lately, the man does not cover. Like, that has just not been happening. However, this is from great stuff from intern Nick. Last 5 meetings between Clemson and North Carolina, Clemson's 5-0 and 4-1 against the spread. Now, these go all the way back to 2014. They've only played 5 times since 2014, so we'll just take that with a grain of salt. The only time Clemson didn't cover was that crazy game in Chapel Hill in 2019 that I was actually at. Just as a fan. That game was so hot. That's really what I remember about that game.
Sam Howell was the guy for that game.
Yes, yeah. And Carolina went for 2 at the end and get it. Carolina was actually a 27.5-point underdog in that game, and Clemson won by a point. So we haven't seen these teams play that much over the last 10 years, but Clemson has, kind of had their way with North Carolina overall. Like, what do you want to? Let's start with the Tigers.
Yeah.
What do you want to see, my friend?
Well, I think, typically when you look at those games, specifically, since 14, we blew them out. That was awesome. That was a fun game. I think Deshaun Watson had like 8 touchdowns. I mean, it was crazy.
Clemson scored 50.
Game.
Yeah,
it was crazy to be a part of that game.
But then the 2015 ACC championship game was very close, if you do recall.
Not close enough, though. Sorry. I don't know why I had that out. I had it out and I haven't put it back up.
That was really well played.
Good timing. That wasn't planned. Yeah, the reason that we've kind of dominated this game is really been lines of scrimmage on both sides. Like, we've been able to run the ball very effectively. Clemson has had dominant defensive lines that just, Carolina, there's nothing that they can do. They cannot block them. They can't, get anything going. Even when they've had generational quarterbacks, great players, great running backs, it just hasn't mattered, and you would think, based on paper, if you just took everything away that you knew and you just looked at these rosters and you just looked at this game, you would think the same thing would happen, but that hasn't been the case for Clemson. They have not played A, to the standard, B, to the expectation at all. And can they bounce back? We'll see. I'm fascinated to see that. I think the bye week came at an extraordinarily good time. I think the conversations, the meetings, like they scrimmaged. They went like fall camp mode scrimmage, which is great. Just from a physicality, like, let's get everybody's head right and let's get everybody on the same page. And, coach was asked, if starters, if minutes were being challenged, he said everybody. Like, literally everybody. And we'll see how true that is. I'm fascinated to see, are there any guys that run out there first that maybe hadn't before, and some guys that are either challenging or some guys that, aren't showing enough care and enough, responsibility, and that they've got, demoted. So we'll be very interesting to see that. That's kind of the first thing that I'll be paying attention to is who goes out there. And then you just go to execution. Like, football is the hardest, easiest game at the end of the day. Like, if you do your job, throw the ball where it needs to go, block the guy you're supposed to block, fill the gap you're supposed to fill, tackle the guy that's right there to tackle, it's really easy. And at the same time, all those things are pretty hard to do. And so, how will we see Clemson execute? How will we see Cade Klubnik execute and be the quarterback that he has been And we have seen, it's not like he's being asked to do anything extraordinary or something that he cannot do. Just be who you are. Be the kid that you've been your whole life, throwing the football at a very efficient, high rate, and you got to do that now. So that's what I want to see. I want to see this offense be explosive. I want to see this offense not make mistakes. I want to see this offense take the things that the defense gives you, because here's the deal, and we have to be honest and transparent, and it is what it is. North Carolina is a very bad football team in a lot of different ways. And if Clemson does not handle business, Clemson, you are also a very bad football team. And so that's kind of where we are right now in regards to expectation from this game and what you need to see.
And that's well said, Mac. And to your point, the rosters are so different that you look at UNC's roster and you can kind of understand why they're bad. Like, it's a full rebuild. Clemson, that's not necessarily the case. One thing I really want to see, Mac, and we talk about Cade Klubnik, I think a lot of this comes down to him. Like, that's just the reality. It's the quarterback position. Like, and you've been doing your tapes where it's very obvious what's been happening there. UNC has virtually no pass rush. They're dead last in the ACC with 4 sacks. If you can't stay in the pocket in this game and make your reads and, maybe climb the pocket occasionally and not like freak out and leave the pocket, then I think you can't do it against anybody, right? Like, that's really what I want to see, Mac. You don't need to be mobile if you're Cade. You don't need to use your legs, not in a game like this. Adam Randall's actually running the ball pretty darn well.
Yes.
I know the fumble or two, that's a problem, but let's let the running backs run it. Let the quarterback throw it. That's my crazy, wild idea in this game, Mac.
Yeah. Or I wanted design runs. I want it very clear.
That's
I don't want decisions. I don't want
especially
reads.
red zone,
I don't
whatever.
want options. I want running the football. So yeah, I'm right there with you. And honestly, I mean, I probably have a book worth of things that I do want to see. And then on the defensive line, like these guys can't protect either. So exert your will, be who you are. Will Held, can't wait to see him. TJ Parker, hope he shows up to the party. Peter Woods, I know he's been double teamed a lot, and there's probably a lot of good things he's doing on film, but it's just not getting to the stat sheet. Don't care. Like, get through it. Make it happen. You're that good of you were the number 1 prospect going into this season. You got to be that. You got to be that guy. So we'll see. There's a lot of interesting things here. 13.5. I just want to get hurt again. Give me the Tigers. I want to feel something. Give me the Tigers.
So many points.
I believe.
I'll add too, Mac. We don't know. Well, I don't know what we know about North Carolina's quarterback.
We don't know. We don't know who the quarterback's going to be. Is it Gio? Is it Max? Is it somebody else?
We'll see.
We don't know that. We don't know that. And I will say it is a little telling, though. Belichick was asked, super exciting guy. He's riveting every time he talks. He was kind of like, if the guy's not getting better, then we're going to get somebody else in. And so, is he confident about that? I don't know. I don't know where they're going to be offensively.
Yeah, I think you have to prepare for both, which is basically what Dabo said. So we'll see. These are basically the 2 worst scoring offenses in the ACC.
You can say America. I think it's pretty close to America.
Probably, yeah. Clemson is the worst in the ACC at 19.7 points per game. And fun fact, Mac, for your spread here, Clemson, this is from Intern Nick, Clemson is one of 6 teams in the country that has yet to cover one time.
There's another big team on that list. Do you know who it is?
Georgia. And SMU, interestingly.
Burn it down. Georgia stinks. And Penn State.
Fire
everybody. Fire all the coaches. Maybe we could swap coaches, see if that works. Do a little icky shuffle. Would you want Kirby Smart or Rhett Lashley? Who would you want?
Oh, gosh. Just to coach like one game?
What a question.
Kirby Smart. I think you'd go with the guy who's won natties.
Rhett, I love you and I want you, buddy.
I would much rather hang out with Rhett Lashley.
That's a fact. I can promise you that.
Because he seems like a really good dude. I'm going to go with you, Mac. I'm going to take Clemson to cover, and I hate it.
Oh, are you? I
just think UNC is that bad. I just think UNC
my girl. We're back. We're so back.
We're back. Okay, a game that the spread is fascinating is this Virginia-Louisville game. Number 20 for Virginia at receiving votes, Louisville. I'm going to give Louisville some credit there. Louisville's 6.5-point favorite. I saw it at 7.5. Looks like it moved, at least from what I saw most recently.
Yeah, 6.5 right now.
Yeah, 3:30 on ESPN2. Louisville's won the last 3 meetings, and they've played the last 3 years. But these games have been close. Last year's 24-20 Louisville, year before 31-24 Louisville, year before that 24-17 Louisville. So it feels like these teams always kind of play a close game. And, the big question with this game, Mac, is Virginia for real, right? Like, you had this amazing moment. You had a packed house. Did you catch lightning in a bottle, or are you actually pretty good? And I think that's what's so fascinating about this game. And then we can't forget the Louisville side. They're undefeated, Mac. If they win this game, they're going to be ranked. I think that's fair to say. Miller Moss had a great second half. Colin Lacey and Chris Bell, that combination with Miller Moss is fantastic. But what's the status of Isaac Brown and Duke Watson? Are they going to be able to run the football? Because Virginia is going to run the ball, averaging nearly
Right.
250 rushing yards per game.
Yeah. It is such an interesting thing. And, what I was going to say is typically, that's what happens in the ACC, right? Somebody upset
Yes.
a big brand,
Louisville
they get
will win this
ranked.
game. Like, that's just what happened.
Right. They get ranked and then they lose and they stink and they don't get ranked. But this is a little bit interesting and different situation because, as you mentioned, Louisville is undefeated and Louisville, if they win, will be ranked. And so it's a little bit of a trade-off, either way. But I like this Virginia team a lot. And it's so funny to go back and forth. Again, I already had my soapbox of these fans and the things they say and do, but which I forgot. I need to tell you another story about that off air. Another fan. But the interesting thing with them is we hadn't seen them do it against anybody. Like people want to get mad at you and say, "Have you seen this? Have you seen?" Yeah, I have. And they don't look like the guys you're about to go against, and they don't look like these guys either. But you did it against Florida State at an amazing rate, at a very high clip, and that was impressive to see. I mean, this offensive line, which was banged up and bruised and bloodied against Florida State, looked great. And guys were moving other dudes out of the way. The running backs running with power, passion, speed, great vision. I mean, you saw some jump cuts from these guys that was just awesome. Backside A-gap and things of that nature. So I was very impressed. And then you add on the quarterback in Chandler Morris, who, again, I've known since he was like 6 years old, which is crazy. To see him play.
Uncle Mac.
Yeah, with the maybe Grandpa Mac. I don't know.
You're an unk.
Yeah, more than that. And to see him play with this like championship mindset of no moment's too big, no lead or deficit is I don't care. I'm playing my game. Turnovers don't phase me. On to the next play. What do we need? I just broke my thumb potentially. All good. I'll stand. Shoot it up. Give me some medicine. I'm fine. That was awesome to see. And I don't know. I don't think he broke his thumb, but
is he good though? That was my other question. I'm assuming he threw the ball after that incident. So
yeah, he played the whole. I mean, I assume he's good. Fine. If not, that's a different story. And please let me know before we make these picks.
Someone let us know.
No one could let me know. The ghost of football research. But yeah, all that said, like I love what I saw from them. And then you look on the defensive side of the ball too. They were flying around. I know they gave up a ton of yards, but got their hands on the football, knocked it out, made some very opportunistic plays. There was a couple of redirects that I saw from that defensive line trying to tackle Tommy that was just fun to see, quite frankly. And so looking at Louisville, been very inconsistent, but you're undefeated. Like, who cares? You're winning football games. The offense isn't quite to where I thought it would be. I had really high expectations of this Louisville offense kind of coming out of summer and all the things we had heard and the excitement level and just personnel, that's really there. But I think the offensive line's a little bit below average. These guys are kind of hurting, and I think that's kind of going throughout the entire offense. Can't run the ball as effectively. There's some injuries clearly there, some weird things going on in that backfield. Miller Moss looked uncomfortable to start, but had his best game and really was the reason they won against Pittsburgh. And he got linked up with those receivers, as you mentioned there. So, if we see more of that, then shoot. I mean, look out. I mean, Louisville's going to throw it all over the yard, which Brom probably wants to do anyway. He's probably fine with not running the ball. And then, you have a defense that's about where I thought they would. I love Clev, the defensive end transfer from Coastal. He's balling, the sack master over there playing at a really high level. So I think this is going to be a great game. I'm looking for the over-under is 62.5. Give me the over. Let's just play ball. Let's score a lot of points. Let's roll. I love that. That's what I'm hoping for because obviously Florida State did whatever they wanted running the football and throwing it at the end of the day too. So will be interesting to see, can Louisville take advantage of that, or if their guys too banged up and not able to do that and they have to lean on Miller throwing it.
Well, that's my big question is the run games here because we know Virginia is going to run it. Virginia is 7th in the country in time of possession, number 1 in the league, 35 minutes. Like
Big
they are
deal.
going to run the ball.
Yeah.
So that concerns me for Louisville. But then, Mac, just picking this game is so stressful. What does Vegas know? Louisville's 6.5.
Yeah, that is bizarre. It is bizarre.
And like you said, the most ACC thing is for Louisville to
Yeah.
win this game.
Well, you've got the letdown after the
The
big win.
letdown, yeah.
You've got traveling to a new place, so you don't have your fans. There's some writing on the wall here. There's some writing on the wall.
I want to believe, Mac. I want to believe. So I'm at least going to take Virginia plus 6.5. At least. I think Virginia wins. I feel like we saw something from that team Friday night. And I hope it wasn't lightning in a bottle because we see that so often in college football. Like, that's what we love about college football. It's so unpredictable because you don't have that consistency. But I want to believe, Mac. I want to believe.
I'm at a bit of a crossroads here, because I have the good, bad, however you want to look at it, juju of picking against Virginia and then winning. And I got some texts from some fans saying, please keep picking against us.
Yeah.
I have the, interesting thought of thinking all those things I said about Louisville and can they take the opportunity of that, of a letdown game, of being a little hungover, of being at home, against your opponent there. I also wouldn't mind being on a Virginia highlight reel again. That was kind of cool. I don't know if you saw that.
Was savage.
What savage? I could get on a Louisville highlight reel, depending on what I say. Give me Virginia money line. I'm confident in Florida State. I'm confident in Virginia. Give me money line for both. I think they win. I think they win.
See, and I'm not as confident as I like Virginia plus 6.5.
Smart. Good play.
All right, Mac, let's run through the rest of these games. Syracuse at SMU. Let's go, baby. They're finally playing an ACC game. We know the Baylor loss, TCU losses were tough. This is a must-win game for SMU. Like, if you want to be in the conversation, I think must win. SMU is dead last in the ACC in passing defense, which I think is partly because of who you played in Baylor and TCU. But Syracuse looks like a shell of themselves. Like, I don't know how Syracuse bounces back from the Duke domination. And then my other big question with SMU, which we always had all offseason, Mac, is the turnovers. Kevin Jennings is tied for first in the ACC with picks. He's got 5 picks. Don't give Syracuse life in this game. That's the big thing, I think, for SMU with the turnovers.
Yeah. No, I don't think there's any question about that. And, for Cuse, if there's a game, you need to get your passing attack right.
Yeah.
Figure some stuff out. This is it. Can you take advantage of it? Can you make it happen? It's kind of what I said about Clemson. And if you cannot handle business with North Carolina, then you are like North Carolina. That's kind of the deal here for SMU. If your defense can't do anything against this, which was non-existent, throwing the ball since Steve Angeli has been hurt, then you're just bad. Just is what it is. Go back to the drawing board or make something happen, in the middle of the season here. So I am interested. How do they take advantage of that? How can they continue to creatively find ways to sack the quarterback? How can you get after Ricky Collins, make him feel you there? Syracuse run the ball like they couldn't run it at all last week. They looked like the Packers against Clemson, and now all of a sudden they can't move it to save their lives, against Duke, which is just so bizarre. We're in a weird world. We're in such a weird world. And then, KJ, can we just continue to see him get better? Push the ball downfield, make the right throws, don't make the tight window if you don't have to, things of that nature. So I feel pretty good about the Ponies, and maybe part of that is because I do think Syracuse is a night and day different team without Angeli.
Well, it's obvious when you watch the Clemson game, Angeli was fantastic. Like, I feel for Syracuse. I feel for that whole program. I feel for their fans because you want to be so excited about that Clemson win, but then you realize you lost a guy who was doing some really special things. That's a lot of points, by the way. SMU minus 17.5. I think SMU wins, but I'm not sure about that.
You're taking the orange.
I probably would. I'm not sure that's a game I'd touch with a 10-foot pole, though. Okay. Just because I don't know what Syracuse or SMU really, I don't know who they really are yet. So we'll see. Duke, looking to dominate again, Eric McLean. I saw the Duke equipment truck was heading out on its cross-country voyage to Berkeley, which...
What do you think you do on that trip? Like, how many...
I would find all the Buckies possible.
You would what?
I would find all the Buckies I could find.
Yeah, that's a good
Maybe
idea.
you take, like, the Texas route so you can hit Buc-ee's. I mean, it's gonna take you forever anyway, so you might as
Yeah,
well. Might as well
yeah.
try that out.
So you would be very strategic on where you
I
stopped.
think so.
You
I
wouldn't
think you
just
got to.
drive, you wouldn't max it out every time. Like, you're trying to do some stuff.
I mean, it's already taken forever. Like, I don't wanna drive through Kansas, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I kinda wanna switch it up a little
Would you
bit.
also need, like, a teammate, like, you and I out there driving this thing,
Yes,
like,
Mac,
we
you
switch
think I
off?
could drive that by myself? There's no
Oh,
way.
I don't know.
I
A
I
couple
don't
energy
need that
drinks,
much solitude. I don't need
good
that.
quiet time with the Lord, get yourself right.
I appreciate that, but that
Sounds
is a long drive
sounds
back.
terrible.
That is a
Can we
long
just put
drive.
it on a train and just ship it out? Like, just figure this out, guys.
I know. I feel so bad for these guys. But anyway, Mac, this game, Cal's coming off the win over Boston College. I think Duke is the better team, but both these teams have been so inconsistent. And then Duke's traveling all the way out there. Duke hasn't been very good on the road. I like this stat from intern Nick about Justin Wilcox and Cal and them being a home underdog. Since Justin Wilcox has been the head coach at Cal, they are 14-5-1 against the spread as a home dog. That is impressive. They love being a home underdog. Think back to the Miami game last year, just the fact that they're probably, that they're going to cover. And then, of course, Mensa has just been fantastic. And you've got the, say our guy's name. Say our Cal quarterback's name for me, please.
Sungapolatele.
Yes, him. You've got him for Cal. And he's shown a lot of things. I really enjoyed watching Jimbo Fisher's tape on him when you guys were at Miami, I think. So it's an interesting quarterback matchup. I'm going to go with Duke. I'm going to be honest, Mac, I won't be up for this game. Actually, I'll probably be up feeding
You'll be
Luke
on
and
the
I'll check the
next
score.
yeah, you'll
Yeah,
be there. You'll be there.
yeah,
Take the midnight shift and you can watch this game close out there, maybe the third quarter or so. I'm with you. I'm taking the Blue Devils. I think their defense is kind of finding its stride,
yeah.
figuring itself out there. And I am fascinated and cannot wait to watch, though, Sangapolatele against Chandler Rivers, against this pass rush. And,
Mm.
just can his receivers help him? Can they catch the ball? That lefty's got some zip and he's throwing it in there. You got to be ready. You got to be ready to make it happen. But I'm going Duke as well. I'm right there with you.
All right. Do you have any thoughts on Wake Forest, Virginia Tech? Virginia Tech, with all that's gone down, they're undefeated in the ACC. Coach fired, the Old Dominion catastrophe, and they're a 6.5-point favorite in the league game. Which is just crazy. 1 p.m. on CW. Feels like Virginia Tech found themselves a little bit. You got some hangover for Wake. Wake looked good against Georgia Tech, but also what's Claiborne's status? I mean, there's a lot of questions there for Wake.
Yeah. I'm interested just to see, like, where is Wake as a program after
Yeah.
feeling like you had that game ripped away from you, so you had it taken away from you. Yeah, you also gave up a massive lead, and maybe you should never been in that situation, right? You can look at it a couple of different ways there, and as you mentioned, the health of your best player, like, and your quarterback, quite frankly. Where are you as a team? Are you ready to go? And a Virginia Tech team undefeated in conference, surging right now, playing really well.
So
A
stupid.
lot of positive news with all that money that is influxing in that they basically promised.
True.
It's interesting. It's interesting to see, and I know that place is going to be popping. I know it's 1:00, but it's going to be hype. There's going to be a lot of people there, so I think give me the Hokies to continue this magical run to Charlotte.
I think there's going to be a letdown for the
What?
Deeks, and I
No.
can't for the Deeks.
Oh, sorry.
I think Virginia Tech wins the game. Yeah, I think Virginia Tech wins. And yes, like you said, Matt, continues their magical run. But again, like, is it magical if you lose to Old Dominion? Like, stop. Just stop. Just stop. Get some help,
Yeah. Get some help.
The NJ meme. Okay, Boston College Pitt 6.5-point favorite noon on ACC Network. The quarterback situation, I firmly stand by that. I do not think Holstein should have been benched. I thought that was kind of crazy. I assume he'll go back out there and start. Intern Nick had some crazy stats here about Pittsburgh. They lead the ACC in sacks, which is what they do, right? But they're dead last in time of possession. They're also dead last in third down conversion rate. They've only converted 16 of 50 third downs. BC coming off a heartbreaker. Pitt's at home. I think Pitt wins. But Pitt also has not beaten an FBS team in a very long time since they started 7-0 last year.
It's this is going to be interesting because obviously you've got a team in BC that is kind of hurting right now. They've kind of messed around, lost 3 in a row. Pittsburgh's lost 2 in a row. Somebody's got to win. Praise the Lord.
Somebody's got to win.
This is great when these things happen. Somebody can make it happen. Lonergan's been fun to watch. has had a little bit of trouble recently, but so is Holstein. So I don't know. This is kind of a coin flip. Who do you feel better about? If Reed plays for Pittsburgh, I probably feel better. But then on the other side, Turbo for Boston College has looked great. Turbo Richard, the running back there. So you said you took Pitt. I'll take BC just for the spirit of competition and the fun. I'll take them with the points, though. I'm not going MIL for them.
Yeah. Yeah. I think BC plus 6.5 is actually fair. I mean, this game's probably just going to be silly in a lot of ways. And I'm having some doubts of like, why didn't I name Luke Turbo? That was a really bad decision. Turbo.
Well, there's still time. I think that you've got a couple of weeks
Switch
afterwards. Yeah.
Go nickname Turbo.
Or just a nickname. Yeah, that's great. That's great.
That's a
Make
real
sure he's fast, though.
opportunity.
Make sure he's fast. Can't have a slow turbo.
Okay. NC State Campbell, 2:00, AC Network Extra.
Can't wait. Guys, thank you for tuning in. Appreciate y'all. Another fun week. KG, it's great to have you back, friend. It's been so much fun.
It's a pleasure.
We're gonna keep rolling. You got basketball next week. What the heck are we doing? It's October. It's football season. That'll be fun. Can't wait to hear the stories from that. I think the ACC is going to be pretty good. You tell me better, though, next week after you talk to some of these people. And our boy Poppy killing it on the recruiting trail, by the way.
Mac. We'll get into that a little more. Yes, because I am so hype about that. We'll talk about that at a later date.
Sure you are. We will. But anyway, appreciate you guys. Go subscribe. Jump in the comments. Tell us what you think about this weekend. We appreciate you guys always being here with y'all or being with us. But until next time, we'll see y'all.
Rollback just dropped their licensed game day collection. Polos, hoodies, Q-zips, custom designed for your school. On game days, we wear Rollback, period.